there, fantasy owners, and welcome to Lift the Cup Fantasy, or LTC Fantasy as some call it. And today's our Week 19 strategy episode, where we're going to look on where to find the advantage in Week 19 to hopefully get you that fantasy win. There's some things to note here. Monday and Wednesday are your light nights this week. 3 games only on Monday and 4 games on Wednesday. Also, it's only 2-game weeks for Arizona, Florida, Nashville, and Pittsburgh. So if you do have players on those teams which are borderline players, those are the players to look at dropping. And there's 4-game weeks for a number of teams, them being Boston, Carolina, LA, Minnesota, New Jersey, Ottawa, Tampa Bay, and Vegas. So we will focus on the light nights of Monday and Wednesday, as those are the lightest nights. Do note that LA and Toronto do play on both the light nights, Monday and Wednesday, so they'll be included when we're talking about Monday defensemen and forwards. And we'll also cover, obviously, Monday defensemen and forwards, Wednesday defensemen and forwards, and then the remaining 4-game teams that aren't covered on Monday and Wednesday. Remember to look in the description, because I will mention where in the timeline to look for Monday defensemen and forwards, Wednesday defenseman and forward, and then the other remaining team defensemen and forwards. That way, if you need to come back to the video because you're looking for a different piece on a different day, etc., you can find exactly what you're looking for. Don't forget to subscribe, because then it is easier to come back to the video, find that piece you need just in case an injury happens, etc. So we'll jump right into it with Monday defensemen. I look at Mike Riley from the Boston Bruins, only owned in 6% of Yahoo leagues. He's currently playing on the top pairing and second power play unit. He only has 13 points in 45 games played. He was an assist machine last year, and it's starting to show. He has 3 points in his last 4 games. Also look at Damon Severson from New Jersey, only owned in 26% of Yahoo leagues. Plays on the second pairing and still playing on that top power play unit, even with Hamilton back. Year to date, he has 28 points in 48 games, and he had 7 points in his last 6 games. That's including scoring on the power play with Hamilton back, so there is signs that he will still produce, even with, obviously, I've said again, Hamilton back in the lineup. Moving along is Oliver Ekman-Larsson from Vancouver, owned in 45% of Yahoo leagues. Plays on that top pairing and second power play unit. Year to date, he only has 15 points in 50 games, so that's scaring people off. But he's really been trending in the right direction, having 7 points in his last 8 games. The last defenseman is Dmitry Orlov from Washington, owned in 52% of Yahoo leagues. He's on the second pairing and second power play unit. He has 24 points in 48 games played, and he is kind of streaky, but he does have 2 points in 3 games played, so hopefully we catch him in one of his hot spells. Moving along to Monday forwards, I look at Charlie Coyle from Boston, listed as center right winger, only owned in 9% of Yahoo leagues, currently centering the third line, but on the second power play unit. Year to date, he has 25 points in 51 games played, so a little bit low, but he does have 5 points in his last 6 games played. Next one from Boston is Jake DeBrusk, listed as left winger, right winger, only owned in 3% of Yahoo leagues. He spent most of the season on the third line, sometimes fourth line. Obviously all kind of trade speculation, but they have bumped him up to the top line. Year to date, he has 19 points in 46 games, but since coming up to the top line, he scored in 3 straight games and 4 goals in those 3 games. Next one's Victor Arvidsson from LA, listed as left winger, right winger, only owned in 47% of Yahoo leagues. Currently on the second line, but top power play unit. He has 34 points in 44 games played, so some pretty good production there. And he's currently on a 5-game point streak, having 3 goals and 4 assists for 7 points. Next one from LA is Adrian Kempe, also listed as left winger, right winger, owned in 48% of Yahoo leagues, on that top line and top power play unit. Year to date, he has 33 points in 48 games played, and 23 of those 33 points are goals. So if goals are weighted heavier in your league, definitely take a look at him. And he's been hot of late, having 5 points in his last 3 games. Next one is from New Jersey, Yegor Sarangovic, Listed as center, left winger, and right winger, so I do like it when he can place him in any of the forward slots. And he's only owned in 8% of Yahoo leagues. He's playing on the top line and second power play unit. And year to date, he has 25 points in 45 games played, and he's also on a 5-game point streak, having 3 goals and 5 assists for 8 points. So definitely see that ownership going up soon. Next one's Jesper Bratt, listed as left winger, right winger, only owned in 53% of Yahoo leagues. Don't know how it's this low. He's on the second line currently, top power play unit. He's up to 46 points in 46 games played, so he is a point per game player. He just got back from injury. In that game, he had 2 goals and 1 assist for 3 points. And even looking before he was injured, and including his last game back, he has 22 points in his last 17 games played. So he's been really, really hot. Moving along is Michael Bunting from Toronto, listed as left winger, owned in 36% of Yahoo leagues. Plays on that top line and second power play unit. He has 35 points in 51 games played, and he's been hot. He's had 5 points in the last 6 games, and there's nothing wrong with taking a player that can piggyback Matthews and Marner and get some points there. Next one from Toronto is Andre Casse, listed as right winger, only owned in 4% of Yahoo leagues. He's currently on that second line with Tavares and on the second power play unit. Year to date, he has 21 points in 43 games played, so that's low, but he has been better since being up on that second line, having 4 points in the last 7 games. Next one from Vancouver is Connor Garland, listed as left winger, right winger, only owned in 41% of Yahoo leagues, currently on the top line and second power play unit. Year to date, he has 30 points in 48 games played, and he's been even better in the last week or so, having 4 points in his last 4 games. Last one is Connor Sheary from Washington, listed as left winger, right winger, only owned in 2% of Yahoo leagues, so you can snap him up anywhere. He's on the top line right now and second power play unit. He has 23 points in 43 games played, and recently he's had 2 points in the last 3 games played. This year, when he has been in the top 6, he has been producing. When he's been down in the bottom 6, that's where he's been cold. So he is in the top 6 right now, so definitely take a look. Moving along to Wednesday defensemen, I look at John Klingberg from Dallas, owned in 68% of Yahoo leagues, so his ownership is up there, but available in about a third of leagues. He is on that second pairing but top power play unit. Year to date, he has 26 points in 44 games played, and he really is the best option outside of Heiskanen. They're really close on production from Dallas. Next one's Alexander Carrier, owned in 2% of Yahoo leagues with Nashville. Currently on the third pairing and second power play unit. He does get bumped up into the second pairing, sometimes top pairing. Year to date, he has 20 points in 49 games played. And he's been even better, having 5 points in his last 8 games played to go along with 16 blocks. So if blocks are counted, that adds a little secondary value for you. Next one is Mark Giordano from Seattle, owned in 49% of Yahoo leagues. He's on the top pairing and top power play unit. And he's up to 23 points in 48 games played, which is really good considering he had a very, very slow start. And he has 5 points in his last 7 games. And in those 7 games, he also has 14 blocks and 18 shots on goal. So he's doing everything for them right now. Next one is Nico Mikkola, not sure quite how you say it, but from St. Louis. He's on the top pairing right now, only owned in 1% of Yahoo leagues. Currently he has only 11 points in 35 games played, but he's really been trending in the right direction since being on that top pairing, having 4 points in the last 5 games played. Moving along to Wednesday forwards, I look at Alex Tuck from Buffalo, listed as left winger, right winger, only owned in 50% of Yahoo leagues. He plays on that top line and top power play unit, and since he's been playing, because he was injured pretty much half the year already, he has 21 points in 20 games played. Next one is his line mate Tage Thompson, listed as center, left wing, and right wing. So I do like where you can place him anywhere. Owned in 53% of Yahoo leagues. Plays on that top line and top power play unit. Year to date, he has 38 points in 48 games played, so some pretty good production. But he also has 15 points in his last 13 games played, so well over that point per game. Next one is Jamie Benn with Dallas, listed as center left winger, owned in 58% of Yahoo leagues. Plays on the second line and second power play unit. And year to date, he has 26 points in 51 games played. And he's been really good the last couple of weeks, having 6 points in his last 7 games played. Next one from Nashville is Mikael Granlund, listed as center right winger, only owned in 46% of Yahoo leagues. Plays on that top line and top power play unit. And year to date, he has 40 points in 50 games played, which is really nice production, and he's been pretty consistent all year long. Outside of Forsberg, he's probably been their best forward. Next one is Yanni Gourde with Seattle, also listed as center right winger, only owned in 16% of Yahoo leagues, on the second line and second power play unit. Year to date, he has 29 points in 46 games played, and lately he's had a really strong last couple of weeks, having 6 points in his last 8 games played. Next one from Seattle is Kelly Yarncroc, listed as left winger, right winger, only owned in 1% of Yahoo leagues, so yeah, he's available everywhere. He's also on that second line, but on the top power play unit. Year to date, he's up to 22 points in 42 games played, and factor in he only had 2 points in his first 14, so he's been really good after that slow start, and he has 7 points in his last 8 games. Next one is Ryan Strome from the Rangers, listed as center right winger, owned in 67% of Yahoo leagues, so he's available in about a third up there. He's on the second line and first power play unit, and he has 36 points in 46 games played, so pretty good production. And you got to remember, he plays with Panarin both on the second line and on the power play, so it's a way to really piggyback some points there and get some added value. Next one from St. Louis is Robert Thomas, listed as center right winger also, owned in 32% of Yahoo leagues, plays on the second line and second power play unit. Year to date, he has 40 points in 43 games played, so basically a point per game and only 32% ownership. He's on a 5-game point streak where he has 2 goals and 6 assists for 8 points, so he's been really obviously hot in the last 5. Next one is Brandon Saad from St. Louis, listed as left winger, right winger, only owned in 12% of Yahoo leagues. He is playing on that top line and second power play unit. And year to date, he has 28 points in 46 games played, which is a little bit low, but since being bumped up to the top line, he's scored in the last 2 straight, and not sure about Friday's game as we're recording this. Next one is Braden Shen, listed as center, left winger, and right winger. His ownership is up there, being at 69%, but you do have a 3 in 10 shot of finding him. He is currently centering the third line. He has 28 points in 34 games played, so a shade under a point per game, but he's been really hot of late, having 10 points in his last 8 games. So we'll move along to other defensemen that play on teams that have 4 games this week. And I look at Jacob Slavin from Carolina, owned in 62% of Yahoo leagues. He does play on that top line and top power play with D'Angelo out for the next month. So he has 29 points in 48 games played, and he has 5 points in his last 5 games played. So he's going to get some extra power play time, and he's been really hot of late. Next one's Brady Shea from Carolina, owned in 16% of Yahoo leagues. Plays on the second pairing. Year to date, he has 21 points in 50 games played, and he has 3 points in his last 3 games played. He was really hot about month and a half ago, and with D'Angelo hurt, I do see his production and minutes increasing, so I'd definitely take a look at streaming him. Last one is Jared Spurgeon from Minnesota, owned in 59% of Yahoo leagues. Plays on the top pairing and top power play unit. He's up to 20 points in 33 games played, so he's well over that half point per game. And even better recently, in the last couple of weeks, he has 5 points in the last 6 games played. Moving along to other forwards that have 4 games this week, I look at Martin Nikas from Carolina, listed as center right winger, owned in 47% of Yahoo leagues. Plays on the second line and second power play unit. He has 27 points in 46 games played, and even better lately, having 3 points in his last 4 games. Moving along, Minnesota. Look at Matt Boldy, listed as left winger, right winger, up to 35% owned, plays on the second line and top power play unit, and he has 17 points in 18 games played. So a point per game as a rookie. Nothing wrong with streaming him. He's held it on for 18 games, so I'd definitely take a stab at him. Next one's Connor Brown from Ottawa, listed as left winger, right winger, only owned in 11% of Yahoo leagues, currently on the second line but top power play unit. And year to date, he has 27 points in 36 games played, so some really nice production there, and he has 5 points in the last 6 games. Next one from Ottawa is Tim Stützle, plays on the top line and top power play unit. He's only owned in 34% of Yahoo leagues, and year to date he has 27 points in 49 games played, and he's been really hot of late. He's scored a goal in 4 of the last 5 games and actually 3 straight games. Next one's Alex Killorn from Tampa, listed as left winger, right winger. His ownership's high. It's dropped below 70 now, so I will mention him, but he's 69% owned. Listed as left winger, right winger, on the second line and top power play unit. Year to date, 44 points in 50 games, so just a shade under a point per game. And he has 7 points in his last 8 games played. Next one from Tampa is Corey Perry. He's old as nails, but he's listed as a right winger, only owned in 8% of Yahoo leagues. He's currently on the 4th line, but does get power play time on the second unit. And that's why I mentioned him. Year to date, 28 points in 58 games played, but in the last couple of weeks, he's had 7 points in the last 6 games. Next one from Tampa is Pat Maroon, listed as left winger, right winger, only owned in 3% of Yahoo leagues, so yeah, he's available out there. He's also on the 4th line, but gets second unit power play time. He only has 18 points in 49 games played, but he's been really hot the last week, having 5 points in the last 3 games. Next one's Chandler Stevenson from Vegas, listed as center left winger, owned in 56% of Yahoo leagues, is playing on the top line with Pacioretty and Eichel, and is on the second power play unit. Year to date, he has 40 points in 48 games played, and remember, this was with him, yes, centering the top line, but he played most of the season without Pacioretty, Stone, sometimes both are missing. He hardly had any time with both of them, and on his first game getting to play with 2 superstars at the same time, he had 2 points in his first game with Eichel and Pacioretty. Next one from Vegas is Riley Smith, listed as a right winger, only owned in 38% of Yahoo leagues, does play on the second line and second power play unit. Year to date, he has 33 points in 49 games played, and he's been a really solid player all year long. I like to stream him when I do need him, so I would mention him and definitely take a look, as he does add some very good value for you. So I hope this episode does help you in week 19. If it does, and if you do like it, please hit like, hit subscribe, remember that bell, and we'll be out later this week with our waiver wire episode and our weekend ads episode. Good luck in week 19, all you fantasy owners.